Well, welcome back to the Product Biz Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Miss Christy Pierce, and she's here with us today as a current Product Biz Academy member who has seen some great results in terms of selling on social media, getting into some of her first couple of stores, and someone who joined PBA as a pretty new business owner. So I wanted to bring her on here just to share her story, share her path, share her wisdom, her inspiration for everyone tuning in. So thank you so much, Christy, for being here.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
So first, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your business? What products do you make? Give us all that good background.
Sure, yeah. So, I own Sunglade Jewelry where I make wire-wrapped gemstone jewelry. I've made jewelry since I was a kid, like 10 years old, so I've always loved it. And it's been really exciting. Kind of just a year ago, I kind of got this going, and I make I get really nice gemstones and I wrap them in sterling silver and I just got into gold filled, which I'm also really excited about. So I do all of it. I do the earrings, the pendants, the rings, bracelets, all of the fun stuff.
How did you first get started with making jewelry?
It was literally, I was 10 years old and my grandmother gave me a plastic bead kit and I sorted them all out into rainbow order into a little bead container. And I made my very first bracelet, and there was just something that ignited in me at that point. I was 10 years old. I remember going to bed. I could not wait to wake up the next day to make another bracelet. So that's literally how it started. And I started selling right away. I did some kids entrepreneur fairs that they had in Lexington. Um, I got on Etsy just a few years later. And so immediately I was like, how can I make some money? How can I share my art with the world and how can I make some money from this?
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's so
Yeah.
fun. And obviously, your business has grown, your
Yeah.
style has grown.
Yes.
So, take me back to when this version of your business started.
Mhm.
When was that?
Yeah, so that was just about a year ago. So I had kind of gone in and out of my jewelry over the years. I got into the wire making. I did a little bit with Etsy and Amazon Handmade in college. And then when I graduated, I worked full time as a registered dietitian, working with in pediatric cardiology with little babies. And I wasn't doing anything with my jewelry at all. I was just focused on my career. I met the man of my dreams, and we got married, and we moved into an apartment. And at that point, very soon after that, my health just started declining. And I developed POTS. We were both getting sick all the time. I was having the worst insomnia of my life. I had to get my gallbladder out, and then they were like, you have crazy inflammation in your gut. And I was diagnosed at the beginnings of Crohn's disease. So all this happened in the span of a year right after getting married. And that was a very difficult year. There was a lot of things to swallow. And I was like, what in the world is going on? But after about a year of trying to work full time with all of these illnesses, I just couldn't do it anymore. My job was very gracious with me, and I had to quit my job at December of 2024. And so, right around this time last year, when I knew I was going to have to quit, I was like, okay, what am I going to do with my time, with my energy? Because I don't have much energy, but I have some, and I'm not going to just sit around and mope and watch TV and do nothing. And so, I mean, I've had this fire to start a my own business for my jewelry really forever. And so I was really excited to actually have the opportunity, not that I would have chosen it, but to have the opportunity to slow down and get to pursue this dream, even if it would take me a lot longer or be harder and more challenging than it would be if I were healthy. I really, really wanted to do it. And my husband was very supportive. And so I kind of decided that I wanted to upscale the style of my jewelry, use real gemstones, use real metals, and I came up with the name Sunglade Jewelry. Because Sunglade is like when you're in the woods, if you go hiking and you see the rays of sunshine, maybe it's a little bit cloudy or misty. coming through the leaves of the trees. And I was like, this is so representative of where I'm at right now. This is why I'm doing this. It's the rays of sunshine in a dark place for me. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started and why.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. Do you find that when you re-picked up your business, I mean, you kind of said this at the end, but did it give you something to look forward to? Did it give you some sort of hope when you were going through quite a bit of a challenging time?
Yes, absolutely. There were lots of dark nights, lots of tears, and I found that this was something that really I could get my mind off of my sickness and my situation. Um, and it wasn't just an escape. Like, I really think that's a healthy thing. You know, we can dig ourselves to a hole if we're always thinking about the negative and the bad things that are going on. And I've since learned that crafting and creating things really is kind of healing to your nervous system. So to me, it was a very healthy thing. It really was a light in a dark place. You know, like I was talking, it was the silver lining, and it definitely kept me going for sure.
Oh, that's good. I love hearing
Yeah.
that. Now, explain to us in a little bit more detail what your pieces look like now, because you mentioned you
Mhm.
use beautiful gemstones, you mentioned wire wrapped, but I want you to paint the picture for
Mhm.
someone who can't visually see what your products look like. Give us a little bit more descriptive words of how awesome and unique they are.
Yeah, definitely. So I really gravitate towards very reflective stones. So stones like labradorite or like opals. I've really getting into opals now. They're so pretty and sparkly and have so many colors in there. Moonstones, very colorful, bright, flashy stones. And then these stones are not beads, they're called cabochons. And so it's like a piece of stone that's been polished, it's flat on one side and kind of curved on the other. And I set it in wire. Um, and then I usually add like kind of a decorative top to it using that wire with different swirls or different shapes. Um, so those are my pendants, and that's kind of the core of what I do. I do big, elaborate, creative, kind of artsy pieces, statement pieces, and then I also enjoy just doing kind of some more simple, everyday ones. Um, and then usually my bracelets, rings, and earrings I make to complement those pendants. Mhm.
Beautiful. Yeah, they're stunning. Like
Thank
I've love the
you.
stones that you use. They're just the most beautiful stones, the most beautiful pieces. You are so talented.
Oh,
So,
thank you so much.
oh, of course. Okay, so now let's talk about we talked about how you started your business. Let's
Mhm.
talk about before you joined PBA. So there was a period of a few months that you started your business. What were you working on? What were you getting stuck with? Where were you hitting roadblocks?
Yeah, that's great. I knew the very, very beginnings of starting a business because I had kind of done this some before. I'm like, well, I need to find a platform. I got on this little platform called Go Imagine. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's kind of similar to Etsy. They're kind of trying to grow, but there were a lot at that point, anyways. There was a lot of glitches with it, and I was having issues. And I was like, okay, well, I know I need a website. Um, so honestly, right before I joined with you all, I had just made a preliminary website on Squarespace, and I had gotten signed up with sale to pay sales tax. So I had that part there, but I was really looking. I had looked at several other programs for 4 years actually because I knew that I needed more of a comprehensive guide to getting started with a business. I'm like, there's so many aspects to it, and there's some things I'm really good at. Like I can at least do some good photography. I'm good at the art side. I can tell the story of my pieces. But when it comes to marketing and branding and packaging and I mean, honestly, I've just discovered so many things that I didn't even know were possible and that have opened my eyes up to the possibilities. But I knew that I was really looking for like one place I could go to find all those things. Because I was just trying to figure out little pieces on my own. And I'm like, this is so hard. And who do I know? How do I know who to trust? And so I looked at several other programs, but I was sold on yours. So
Oh, well, I'm so happy to hear that.
yeah.
Now, tell me, you weren't doing any markets back then because of health issues, or were you doing some markets?
So at that point, this past February is when we kind of discovered mold was the issue.
Hmm.
And so we moved out very soon after that. And I was like, okay, now I think that we're going to be out of the mold. I'm probably going to be well, like I understand what's going on. It's not such a mystery and it's not so crazy. It's like, okay, I think I can do some markets. So I actually had signed up for one that was like literally the week after kind of your recruitment in the spring when I joined. Um, and I love markets. I did tons of markets as like a kid and a teenager in college. Of course, they're a lot more difficult for me now because of my health challenges. And so that was one thing that I was really excited when I saw your program. It's like, okay, I need to build this online because I'm not going to be able to go to markets every weekend. Like there's just no way. So I was really excited about doing that.
Yeah, and you have an interesting perspective too, because most people, when they join PBA, it's not when they're this new. Most
Right.
people will join PBA after they've literally tried everything possible in
Yeah.
their own arsenal. And I always tell people, I'm like, listen, you can try to figure it out on your own, and it's going to
Mhm.
take you 2 to 3 years, and you're going to be burnt out and exhausted.
Yeah.
Or you can join at the beginning, get it right the first time, have
Mhm.
confidence that you're doing the right thing at the right time, and save
Yeah.
yourself those 2 or 3 years of trial and error and burnout that don't lead to the results anyways. So I
Yeah.
want to hear your mindset
Mhm.
because I love your mindset. I'm in the
Mhm.
same mindset as you. Like whenever I want to learn something new, I'm like, who can I learn from?
Yeah.
Let me
Mhm.
skip the line. Let me cut
Yes.
in line. I don't want to do this waiting game. So tell me more
Yeah.
about your mindset that you were fairly new. You had
Mhm.
just left a job because of some health challenges. So
Mhm.
obviously there's some differences in terms of probably income and future income that were expected. So what was your mentality of I want to join this program right now, even with all of
Mhm.
this happening?
Yeah. I'm a pretty driven person by nature, and I really wanted to do this. I just wanted to see if it was possible. I know it would take a lot of work, but any other job that requires me to show up certain hours or be available here, I'm like, I can't commit to anything right now. I have my up days and my down days, and I need something that I'm the boss of, where I can control my own hours and I can be available and work however I can that day, if at all. Um, so yeah, I really wanted to give it a shot, and sorry, this is my pot's brain.
Okay.
What was the other part of that question?
No, I think you answered it perfectly. Just
Okay,
what was your
great.
mentality? What was your
Mhm.
train of thought? And you said,
Yeah.
I'm driven. I want to see if this can
Mhm.
work and I'm going to get the support to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I knew I've tried, trying to figure out the little pieces on my own, and I knew that I needed some help.
Mm-hmm.
So, mhm.
Amazing. Okay. Well, then you joined us in PBA, and I remember
Yeah.
specifically seeing your name pop up. Well, first, I remember during the actual launch that we had some conversations during some of the free trainings about
Mhm.
your products,
Mhm.
which was awesome to connect with you there. And then I remember after you joined, we do this really fun challenge in Product Biz Academy, which is called the Sales Today Challenge. And the whole
Mhm.
goal of this challenge is for people who are new in PBA for for you to have a list of more than 40 ways that you can quickly make a sale today. So it's fun little ideas, promotions, follow-ups, outreach, collaborations, just quick ideas that could be done in a matter of max 30 minutes per day. And the whole point of this program is for new members, like you, Christy, for when you enroll to be able to make your money back and more, to show yourself
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, this is actually possible, to push you outside of your comfort zone a little bit, and also to be like, oh, this monthly commitment that I made, I can actually make it back, and I'm actually making more money online than I have before. So I remember seeing your name pop up because, correct me if I'm wrong, but your online sales maybe at the time that you joined weren't where you wanted them to be.
Mhm.
But I saw
Yeah.
your name pop up with the Sales Today challenge that you were like, I just made a sale here. I got a custom order and now I got another custom order.
Mhm.
So talk us through that moment. Just how were you showing up? What were you doing differently? And what were some of the sales that came through for you?
Yeah, so I knew social media would be really important, and I was already on Instagram. And so that was the first thing. That was kind of like the Instagram and my website were the first things I was focusing on after joining. And so I went through your Instagram module and then the stories, how to sell on stories. And that was amazing. I was like, oh my goodness, this is brilliant. Like, it's simple, it's brilliant. Why didn't I think of this before? The social proof, being a huge part of that. And so I was like, I can implement this right now. Let me just start doing it. And it was awesome. I had a couple people, like two or three, just kind of right away. And honestly, two of them came from my Facebook, which I had just started, and I only had like 25 followers on there. So it doesn't mean you don't have to have a ton of numbers, you just have to have the right people looking at your stuff. And one of them placed an order for a $150 opal necklace and another one for a gold. My first gold filled piece. She wanted it done in gold. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Here's my opportunity to get started with gold filled. A $200 piece.
That's
So
incredible.
that was really exciting. And I think that really kind of jump started. I'm like, okay, this is possible. I can do this. Like, this is gonna work. So that was really exciting start for me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mhm.
Now, what was the biggest shift there? Was it, okay, I have an outline of what to say, so now I can
Mhm.
confidently show up. It's no more like guessing or taking out the phone to post on stories and freezing because I just don't know what to say. Or what was the actual shift there that allowed you to secure those two orders like almost instantly?
I think it was just having that plan that kind of laid out a way to promote your products on your stories. Because I was always, I didn't want to be too like, here's my stuff, buy it, buy it, buy it. But kind of the way, you talk about, you're actually providing a service, how is your products meeting somebody else's needs? And talking about it from that angle. And it's like, no, I believe in my products. This is something that's going to benefit you. Um, I believe that about jewelry. I think it brightens people's day. I think it helps you feel more confident. And so being able to kind of use some of that language in my stories and that sell method, I think helped me be more confident to show up and be like, hey, this is for sale, or hey, I do custom orders. Here's a piece that I've done. If you like want something similar, let me know. And I had a couple bite right off the bat. So
Oh my gosh, so exciting. I love
yeah.
hearing that. Now, tell me what else has shifted for you in just in terms of how you show up for your business over the last year or so. Do you feel more confident? Do you feel more excited? Do you feel like just what are those emotions or shifts that you've had internally?
Yeah, and I have to say, once summer hit, things got really, really difficult, actually more difficult than when we were living in the basement. Because all of a sudden I was crazy sensitive to everything, thanks to the environment and like mold and in Kentucky, like mold is everywhere, I've learned. So we actually ended up, my husband and I, sleeping in a tent behind my brother and sister-in-law's house all summer long. Um, so things were more challenging in terms of the time and the ways I was able to show up for my business. And I was okay with that. I went into this knowing that, and honestly, I have to say, the number one thing that sold me on your program is the lifetime access. All the other programs I looked at, it was like tons of money for 1 year access. I'm like, well, if this, I don't know what's coming ahead for me health wise. Like, I don't know what this next year is going to look like, but having that, like, I can take it at my own pace is huge for me. So I have not been able to work on, wait, good ending. We did move out of the tent. We did a treatment on my parents' house and we're there now. So we have a stable living place. But for like 3 months we didn't. Um, but it was amazing that I was still able to so I focused on social media a lot. That's really what I was like, okay, well, what can I do with what I have? I focused a lot on social media. I have grown a lot on my Instagram. I got on TikTok just a couple weeks ago, and I've really grown a lot on there. Actually, I have to say that has been a lot easier to grow on than the Instagram right now. And so it's been kind of exciting and I feel like I've been kind of in a learning phase, like since I am so at the beginning of my business. I am watching and taking in a lot of data. So I've done two other craft fairs since, and I've used your method of like I'm getting a lot of followers from those craft fairs, you know, handing out free stickers, getting them to follow me. And I've been watching. like on my website and at these craft fairs, what are people drawn to? You know, what kind of target audience is going for what price of pieces? So I did two kind of more low, just kind of smaller community fairs. And I realized most people are buying up to the $40 mark. And but I did one, the first one I did was a much higher end. It was at the Kentucky Horse Park. There was, you know, different market there, and I sold a lot more of my more expensive pieces, 60, 70, $80. And so I've really been kind of in a place right now of just kind of sitting back, watching, learning, gathering data. Because what I do is art, I have so many avenues and ideas of what I can do with my jewelry, what target audience I can get there. Um, and so I've just been kind of watching and learning and kind of seeing which direction I want to go with my products. Um, so there hasn't been a whole lot of flashy here in the beginning. And like I expected that. I think next year is going to be a big year for me because I'm learning so much. I'm gathering the data. And I have a much better idea of how to show up on social media now because I've been practicing it and I've been in trial and error, just seeing what works and what doesn't work. And I've been taking tips from, the modules and implementing those. Um, so that's been a lot of what I've been kind of focusing on since then, since life has been so crazy, just kind of taking it slow as I can. The one other really exciting thing is getting into stores. So I think I mentioned the one lady that bought a really expensive custom order for me, fell in love with my work, and wants to get me in her shop. So that's on hold right now. She has some life things going on, but I think that that will be an ongoing relationship for a while. And she's already bought more things from me since. And then we have at one of my recent craft fairs, I actually got in touch with um, a new shop that's opening up locally just to have different creators in there. And so they were really excited about getting my stuff in. So actually, like tomorrow, that's my thing of like working out which of my pieces I'm going to put in their shop. But that's already going to happen. I'm really, really excited. I mean, to be in a shop is like super exciting to me. So I think that's something I'm going to be really focusing on too, and I think that'll help to bring in some more passive income so I can invest more in like the photography and some of the branding and stuff, support that I need for my website. So,
That's incredible. And you were
yeah.
just sharing with me before we hit record that you
Mhm.
couldn't believe to be in your first store within
Yeah.
really your first year of officially launching this version of your business,
Yeah.
right?
I did not see that coming. That's been huge and awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I'm so excited for you. Now, tell me a little bit more about you as a person. Like, what has shifted for you? Because I'm hearing you say
Mhm.
this has been a lot of learning, a lot of foundations, also a
Mhm.
lot of like patience and trusting that, you know what? We all have different things that come up in life and knowing that business is going to ebb and flow with that. So, how are you approaching business differently?
Mhm. Yeah. I think the first thing that comes to mind is it's really easy to come up with excuses of why this, I can't do this, or this won't work for me, whatever it is. No one has it all together. No one has the perfect life, perfect health, perfect finances. Um, and there have been times where I've just kind of thrown in the towel and be like, I can't do this right now. I'm too sick. My husband is too, we're both been sick. So, um, but it doesn't have to be that way. Like that's a choice. You get to choose whether that's the way you walk forward, how you look at your limitations. And for me, I've just embraced them kind of. It's kind of a funny way to look at it. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be literally at my craft fairs, I'm laying on the ground. I have either some friends come with me, like I cannot do them on my own, or my husband or my mom come with me. I'm laying on the ground as customers are coming up. I mean, is that what I would have chosen? Absolutely not. But I'm not going to let the fact that I can't sit up very long keep me from doing what I love. Um, Even this interview right now, I'm like, I cannot sit up in a chair. So I am lying on my stomach in a bed and doing this interview. Um, I've gotten It's kind of funny because one of the other challenges that you've done is that bingo where it's like all the different challenges or things that put you outside of your comfort zone. Um, my health challenges have put me outside of my comfort zone a lot. You know,
Mm.
I'm like, what are people thinking about me literally lying on the ground right now at a craft fair? Or I'm going around my little wheelchair with my compression tights on, talking to people. And there's been just a lot of opportunity because of the health challenges and physical disabilities that have forced me to do uncomfortable things. And I think that that has really helped me in my jewelry business. I'm not as afraid to show up differently, you know or to cold call somebody. I'm not as afraid of what people think because I feel like a lot of the time I'm doing awkward things and I don't really care anymore. So yeah, I
And
think
to
that.
me, that is
Mhm.
so, it truly is so inspiring to hear
Mhm. Yeah,
that you have this attitude of, okay, life is gonna life.
yeah, yeah.
And there's two approaches that anyone can take. It can be, am I going to be a victim of the apples that were put
Hmm.
on my tree or however the saying goes? Or am I going to be someone who's like, all right, what can I do with this? What
Right,
is
exactly.
possible?
Yeah.
And maybe it's going to look different one year, and maybe it's going to look different day by day. It's going
Hmm.
to look different month by month. But you've created this awesome business. You've created these amazing pieces of jewelry. You've created this amazing mindset in yourself. That's just beautiful to see because that is what's going to carry you
Hmm.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And I have to say the other side of that too is I've had to let go of certain expectations. There's been, I mean, and that's been a practice throughout all of this because I expect to be in a house. I expect to not have to be outside. I expect to get better by a certain point, and it's just not happened the way that I expected it to happen. And so I feel like that's almost trained me in my jewelry too. Like there's things that I want, there's milestones. Like I would like to have more sales on my website. That hasn't been super great. Um, but I'm okay. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to continue to work on that because I know it is possible. And I've just kind of had to let go. Like, I'm not going to let not meeting an expectation keep me from walking forward. And instead, I can look at the successes I have had, like getting into stores, which I didn't expect. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. One thing I want to hone in a little bit more on that topic, which is essentially what you're doing is this, it's detachment. That's what it is. It's I have this goal, I have this purpose, I have this mission, I have where I want to go with this business, and
Mhm.
it's going to take as long as it's going to take.
Right. Yeah.
And I can have this number that I want to reach, but if I don't reach it, I'm not going to make it mean anything about me. I'm not,
Mhm.
maybe, I
Yeah.
mean, we're all human, so we can have some emotions and we can feel a certain way, but there's a level of detachment that you're explaining, which is like, all right, cool. We'll keep chugging away and we'll hit it next month or the month after that, which is such a valuable skill for any business owner or any human. Like you said, you've
Mhm. Yeah.
had to really come up with this level of emotional intelligence and this skill because of your health challenges. And now you're seeing how it also actually supports you in business too. But I
Yeah.
think that's such a valuable skill to have because at the end of the day, we do have a choice too of how attached we get to the metrics and how attached we get to the numbers.
Mhm.
And sometimes I ask people, I'm like, well, why? What's the rush? And why do we have to do it today, now? And if we don't do it now, why are we assigning so many meanings to it? That we're a failure, that we're not this, we're not that. We're like, no, business is going to take as long as it's going to take. Same with like health. Health is going to take as long as it's going to
Yeah.
take,
Yeah.
you know? So it's good to see that you have this positive mindset because I know that can be really challenging for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And I know that what you're saying is going to inspire people to be like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah. And I know I sound super happy and joyful and like the good mindset right now, but I have not always been this way. And I even these days I struggle with that. But I keep coming back to I feel like I am growing. I've seen steady growth over the last 2 years of sickness, of growing in these things. Um, and I'm thankful to the Lord. I'm thankful to the people around me for that. Because I've had friends who've really pushed me in that. I've had friends, I go to a church, I go to a small group, I live my life very openly with people in my life. And I've had, time after time, I would try something for my health and it would fail, it wouldn't work. And then I would go into depression. I'd be like, oh
Mm.
gosh. And, I had a friend encourage me. She's like, you can't let that get you down. Like she was the one who helped me learn like to kind of detach somewhat of like you need to keep trying things, but you can't bank your emotions and your success in life off of that. So, and she would encourage me every time I would try something new. She'd be like, okay, don't bank it all on this. It might not work and you're going to be okay. And for 2 years, things have not worked. I'm just now getting to the place where I'm learning and figuring out and getting things that are working and helping. Um, and so it's something that I've had to practice, not because I wanted to. But yeah, I think, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and you can either let it break you or you can let it make you stronger. So,
Beautifully said. So what's next in business for you, Christy? What's 2026 look like? What are you focusing on?
yeah, I am definitely excited to reach out to more stores. I already have like 3 or 4 in mind that I want to. Um, One thing I'm considering is Um, you did a series on the podcast of doing digital projects. I love teaching. That's part of why I went into dietetics. I would love to teach other people jewelry making. So many people come up to me at the fairs that like, oh, I tried this at one point, but it was really difficult, or I would love to be able to make things like this. And because it's been so positive for me, and I know there's a lot of other people with whatever challenges, illnesses, whatever in their life, um, I would love to teach it. And so that's kind of a big question mark of like how is that going to work? How can I like both, because I want to give that, but I also want it to be business and make money off of it. So I kind of have this big question mark of like, okay, how can that work? I think that's a big long-term goal. I don't know when that part's going to happen, but I would love for it to. And in the meantime, I'm going to get into more stores. I'm going to keep working on SEO on my website and work on the conversion on my website. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Growing on social media. And oh, the other big thing is this year I've really learned which fairs to do and which fairs not to do. And I've only done 3 fairs and I only have 1 or 2 more, but I've talked to a lot of people, other vendors at their fairs and learned like, okay, so next year I'm going to have I can't do too many. I can't do more than like once a month, one a month. So I'm going to have like my list of like the good ones and just do those.
Good. So many fun ideas and options,
Yeah.
plans. So good.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, tell me if someone is thinking about joining PBA or on the fence about joining PBA, what would you say to them?
Yeah. Well, at first, I would say I've looked at a lot of different programs, and this is probably one of the best, especially for the price that I've seen. You definitely, no matter what stage you are in business, I think if you're starting out, you definitely want one place that you can go because there's so much. I mean, there's the back end, there's the bookkeeping part of it, there's the website, the Etsy, the SEO, the photography, the marketing, social media. There's so many different things, and if you have to sit there and research everyone and figure it out yourself, um, that's going to take all that time that you could be using actually making money and being effective at those things. So it's worth the investment. And that was, I do not spend money easily. To invest, this money in a program, I was like, okay, I'm doing this, and it's definitely worth it. Definitely, definitely worth it. Um, you get lifetime access. You get an amazing community on Facebook of other small business owners that you can collab with. I recently just did a group giveaway with some of them, and we're building each other up. We're learning from each other's wins. I think one of the biggest things that inspired me, especially at the beginning, was watching these other business owners who were far ahead in the game from me and learning like what questions are they asking, what things are they dealing with, what plans do they have. I've been learning so much of like what's possible. Um, and I think that's been really inspiring for me. And then I can comment on other people and be like, go you, we are all there building each other up and it's so positive. So yeah, that's a huge part that you also get with this.
Awesome. Well, it's been so good to have you in the community and get to know you and get to see you and celebrate your wins too. And I want to just end with you sharing where people can find you. So, your website, social media, so they can see your beautiful pieces and stay in touch with what you're up to.
Awesome. Yeah. So you can find me. My website is www.sungladejewelry.com. And that's Sunglade. Sunglade. I'm also on Instagram. at Sunglade_Jewelry, and then Facebook and TikTok, I'm just Sunglade Jewelry. So you can find me on all of those platforms. I would love to connect with you, whether you're a business owner or someone looking to buy jewelry. I would absolutely love to connect with you and just say hey.
Oh my gosh, amazing. I'll make sure to link that in the show notes.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one more question because you mentioned TikTok earlier and you just mentioned it again.
Mhm.
So we're
Yeah.
not going to wrap up just yet. Tell me
Okay.
what's working for you on TikTok. You're saying you're seeing some good growth. So what are you doing? What's working?
Yeah. I've been so impressed with TikTok because it's actually like pushing it out to like new people. And I've had so, I don't know what's changed in the Instagram algorithm. I don't know what's going on there. But I also love it because it's more casual. Like there's a lot of just like kind of talk to the camera and it's very community oriented. So one video that I posted got me over 150 followers right off the bat, which is
Oh.
insane. But I was posting, I've had to get creative, so I literally bought a what do you call it, a tanning chair off of Amazon, face down tanning chair, so you can like sit face down in it. It has armholes, you can go into there, and the pictures are all people on their phone tanning. But I'm like, well, I'm just gonna make my jewelry under here because I have to lay down, I have to figure out some way to do it. So I posted just, I just made a video of like me under there making my jewelry and then videos after of the pieces that I made. And it blew up because there's a huge chronic illness community on TikTok.
Mm.
And these people are saying, "Oh my goodness, what a great idea. Where can I get a chair like that? Andrew Jewelry's beautiful." And so I feel like just sharing and being real, and I've gotten to connect with a lot of other people in the chronic illness. And that's something that has kind of inspired me to teach as well. It's like, here's something I can offer these people. A
Mm.
lot of them love to craft. And so I'm like, okay, that's really exciting. And so yeah, I've just kind of shared my story on there. I'm sharing the pieces that I'm making, there's little clips of me making the different pieces, and it's been really great. Yeah, I've gotten a lot
That's
of traction so
incredible.
far. So
Now, are you posting different content on TikTok than Instagram, or are you repurposing anything?
I'm repurposing a lot. I saved all the reels that I did on Instagram, so I kind of had a big backlog to go through. I'm posting once a day. I feel like that's helpful for TikTok. But they're easier posts because I can just get on there and talk too. I don't have to make a super curated nice thing like Instagram likes that better. Um, but a lot of the content has been the same, but then I have definitely done things that are TikTok specific, more of again, just kind of talking to the camera, like reaching out to people in the chronic illness community, like, hey, this is what I've been going through, this is what I'm doing, or hey, would you like to learn? I did one really recently where I just talked about the different tools that I use to get started. And like, if you want to get started with jewelry making, here's the tools you need to get started. And I've noticed that the videos I do post are the same between Instagram and TikTok. Some of them do better on the different platforms, but I've learned pretty quickly what TikTok likes. And I usually tend to get a lot more success with that. So, um, yeah, a lot of repurposing the same content and some of specific for both platforms.
I love it. When I look forward to hearing how that continues to go for you. But
Yeah,
great
definitely.
tips, and that's awesome. So fun. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Christy. I'll make sure to link your website, your Instagram handle, all that in the show notes so people can follow you. Thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast, and thank you so much for tuning in to this episode.
Thank you so much for having me, Monica.